Our last inductee of the evening runs right into that. John Weiser will be our last inductee of the evening. I'd ask John to come to the stage. He'll be inducted this evening by our current head football coach, Dustin Haas. John has been the longtime voice of the Redmen, the Lady Reds, and the Firebirds, and has told many stories about things that everyone has seen here. So when you talk about the memories that are made, John made a lot of memories for a lot of young people as they had the courts, the pools, the sidelines. And so I'm excited to induct John into our Athletic Hall of Fame here this evening. Dustin?
What an honor to be able to induct John into the Hall of Fame. For those of you that don't know, John actually goes by The Voice. That is his given name. But I've been blessed to get to know and work with John for the last 10 years. I've seen his ability as a commentator in the high school realm, in the college realm, and he's been nothing but a talented professional. Not only can John sit there on a bus ride and talk to me about Elmhurst's, second string quarterback and the game he had last week, but also what Bill Young's going to do at Catholic Memorial on a Friday night. He could also talk about the game plan Steve Jurakovic's got coming up. His depth in all sports has been phenomenal. John started covering Carthage sports with football back in 2002, and I don't want to age you out a little bit, but I was a junior in high school then, John. And he started with football. He did only home games that year, but Carthage was quick to recognize John's talent. And the next year, not only did he cover all 10 games for football, but he added men's basketball as well. And he doesn't want to take all the credit for that first season. He'll give some of it to the players, but men's basketball did make it to the Final Four of that year before bowing out to Otterbein. And again, doesn't want to take all the credit for it, but feels like he was a big contributor that year. The following season, the football team won a conference championship, the first since Art Keller was the coach here, and reached the national quarterfinals. And believe it or not, John's not a superstitious guy, but for the next 21 years, he sat on the same seat on the bus. Not superstitious, but he wasn't going to be the guy to sit in the wrong seat and cause a loss there. John, after that, was able to start covering some other Carthage sports. Coach Bernero asked him to cover women's basketball that year, and he was doing three sports, sometimes 4 days a week for the next decade. After online streaming became a thing, John's workload amped up a little bit. He started doing men's and women's soccer, men's and women's lacrosse, men's and women's volleyball, baseball, and softball. John was always prepared, and he always expected a Carthage win. Believe it or not, John's got a good sense of humor. Can always take an inside joke, a great story about John. During the men's volleyball's Cinderella run in 2021, Coach J.W. decided with the sports information office he was going to pull a little prank on John. So after every game, John interviews the head coach to talk about the game, what went well. And Coach J.W. there decided he was going to have some ridiculous cliches that he was going to add to the post-game interview. Things like, we put the salsa on the enchilada. Or we were the straw that stirred the drink, right? And this continued on for 25, 30 games, all the way through that magical run, and John didn't miss a beat. Didn't miss a step, kept on with the next question, wasn't privy to the joke until after the national championship game, kept it professional, moved right along, which was who John is as a sports commentator and broadcaster. In all, John has called over 800 Carthage games in his decades with the school. The Voice was instrumental in introducing the college to thousands of listeners and viewers through his ability to paint the picture of what Division III athletics meant, not to only the student athletes, but to Carthage College and the Kenosha communities. Join me in congratulating John the Voice Weiser on his introduction into the Carthage Athletics Hall of Fame.
Wow. The voice is speechless. Hard to believe. Some 20 years have gone by since that first fall of 2002. But it was actually John Corsi who started the Voice nickname. And those of you who might remember, he was the defensive coordinator here at Carthage for football. And we were walking to one of his meetings with his players. And he goes, "Who the hell are you?" I said, "I'm John Weiser. I'm doing the game on the radio." "Oh, yeah, you're the Voice." And there it started. And I remember that meeting so well because John had a habit of really getting on his freshman players. And so walked into the defensive meeting. It was over here at the on the other side of Lentz Hall. And he gets out a roll of quarters and slams it down on the podium. And he says, "That was one of the worst practices I ever saw. All you freshmen, I got quarters here. Call your parents. You're out of here." And I'm thinking, what the heck did I get myself into? But no, since that time, it had been a tremendous run, and it wouldn't have been made available without some special people that have helped along the way. And Steve Maravich, who's also in the Carthage Hall of Fame, a longtime sports information director, was instrumental in helping get this set up. I'd been doing high school games for a couple of years, maybe 5, 10 years, whatever it was, and started working at Carthage in '99, working up in the School of Professional Studies, and made it known to him that I like doing play-by-play. I'd love to do Carthage games. Next thing you know, I'm talking with the program director at WRJN Radio in Racine, and we set up a meeting, and I'm thinking this is going to be big, like Barney, big, Andy, big. And we get to the meeting. It's Dr. Campbell, the great late Dr. Bond, and Don Rosen, no relation to Robert Rosen, but Don Rosen, the program director at WRIGN. We had this big meeting, big lunch. We have lunch. We make our presentation. Doc Campbell goes, "Is this a good deal?" And Doc Bond just shook his head, "Yep." And that's how it got started. And that's how that run started. So that's how it all got started back in the day in 2002. I also got to see a lot of things in that time, not just being able to call games, but just hanging around teams and learning things. To this day, I still use Coach Rux's attitude, character, enthusiasm in my current job right now, working at Steins and training employees. Are you bringing the attitude, the character, and enthusiasm to be a good Stein employee? And that was part of what I learned from Coach Rux, and how to bring that and how to present yourself as a true team player. I also got to learn a few things from all of the coaches. Dustin Haas and his preparation and how he goes about preparing games. Bosko Jurkovic, one of the greatest coaching minds to ever coach basketball. Steve, one of the great preparers and scouters, and how he prepared for every opponent. Augie Schmidt. Well, there's a lot of things I learned from Augie. A lot of things I can't say. A lot of things that are physically impossible when you come to think about it. But no, Augie taught me a lot, how to handle adversity, how to present yourself professionally. Augie was always a big backer in my corner, and he still is today. Learn the patience of Amy. Amy being a patient and caring coach. I'm so happy you've got your softball diamond dedicated here tonight. I am so excited for you. I would love to leave the door open to call a game at your new softball complex. I would love to do that at one point, to say that I've had that opportunity. I also like to thank John Voinovich and Mike Love. People you don't see too much about, but I know the coaches and athletes know all about them. Without those two individuals, I would not be up here today, to be honest with you. John was behind the scenes producer and director of all of our video streams for athletics. Mike Love has put everything together. I think those two deserve a round of applause. They are my team. Voiney and Mike are my conscience. Voiney was always my conscience. I'd always bounce some ideas. Can I say this? And he'd go, no, you don't want to say that. So I think part of what I've enjoyed the most in doing this and being part of Carthage Athletics was the stories about Division III and the student athlete, truly the student part being the most important part at Division III. And I don't think people quite understood that. And that's what drew me to this, that these are individuals, as we saw here tonight, all that were going into the hall, that put out some outstanding numbers, did some outstanding things on the playing field, but also earned an outstanding Carthage degree. And I think that is what it's all about, is the academic piece and the athletic piece coming hand in hand and joining together. And that was always a privilege to be able to see that happen. I got to see some tremendous athletes myself. Randall Baker, one of the outstanding running backs, 1,000-yard rusher. Took us to the quarterfinals that year in 2004. Never fumbled the ball until the last drive in the fourth quarter. We were driving for the go-ahead touchdown against Mount Union and fumbled. And I felt so sorry for him. But I learned a lot from him. He was very humble, and he just said it happens. And I just couldn't believe, one of the biggest games, he took ownership, and I think that shows you some of the class athletes that we have. Steve Jurkovic, I got to see him play. Got to see Jason Wertel, the top two leading scorers in basketball for Carthage, and two extremely different individuals. Jason was going to score every time he had the ball. He was never going to give it up. When the ball went into the post to Jason, it was going up to the hoop. It wasn't coming back out, wasn't going back to the guard. Jason was going to score. Steve, on the other hand, was the consummate team player. And he would tell you, his points came because his teammates were doing their job, and it just happened to be him that finished off the play. But it's just tremendous to be up here tonight, and thank you for the 20 years that it's been. It's hard to believe, but it's been 20 years, and I hope there's more to come for this athletic department, more to come for the student athletes here. Outstanding softball facility that's going up. I've seen the changes with Keller Field through the years. I've seen the changes at Augie Schmidt Field, the different things going up. Different sports being added, and I think that's tremendous. I think this school is going in the right direction. I'm very happy for this program here. In closing, before I forget, I'd like to thank one very special individual in my life, and she has been my life partner for 36 years. Gina Weiser has been the straw that stirred the Weiser drink, let me tell you. The lost weekends that we've had where I've been calling high school games on Friday, making a trip Friday night to catch up with the football program in Michigan or down at Milliken or down at Augustana. The weekends spent doing a football game on Saturday, a basketball game Saturday night, and a lacrosse or soccer match on Sunday. So she has put up with this for long as I've been at this, and so honey, I thank you for putting up with that. Thank you. She deserves a round of applause. In closing, I would just like to say congratulations to everyone here. I want to thank the committee. I still want to know who stuffed the ballot box because I don't think there were quite that many votes. But no, I'm just kidding. No, it truly has been a pleasure. It's been a great run. I've enjoyed every moment with all of you and visiting with all the coaches and athletes. And I truly look forward to more coming for this outstanding program here at Carthage College. And I'm meeting with Ryan, and I want to take a line from Dr. Campbell when he retired. And that line is, I have a phone. It's always available. So give me a call. I just don't have the ability to dial out. Thank you.